Welcome to a periodic update on what Trinity is up to during this time after Pastor Brian has retired. And we have our council president, Kathi Tunheim, who has been very busy. And Kathy's going to tell us kind of what we can expect right now in this period of transition.
That's great. Thanks, Jeri. So as you know, many of you perhaps know that I've been a college professor for a long time and teaching leadership development and change management. And one of the most helpful tools that my students have appreciated and I personally have used through the years is a tool from an author by the name of Dr. William Bridges. He was an American literature professor at Mills College in California, and he created this model that I thought might be helpful for all of you. I actually shared it with the staff on Tuesday, and they were the ones that encouraged me to do this. So what Dr. Bridges says is that when there is an ending, for example, when Brian retired, right, and announced he was leaving, and last Sunday we had such a beautiful service, but when there's an ending, there's actually a lot of emotion around it. Shock. There can be actually anger right underneath, some deep-seated feelings about that, disappointment. There's reflection, there's often anxiety, and usually some acceptance. The good news is after some time in acceptance, then we move into the second phase of his model, which is called the neutral zone or the transition zone. And in this zone, it kind of starts out negative. People aren't really sure what's going to happen, and there can be a lot of uncertainty. People may question if they should stay at the church or if they should transfer and go to a different congregation. But if we get a good interim pastor in here, what that person can usually do is, get us organized, help us start thinking about the future. One more thing, Jeri, that he says about this transition time, it's important that we do self-care, that we take care of ourselves and each other. So it would be a good time for us to reach out to our friends at church and spend some time together. I think we might have some Bible study opportunities during this transition zone. And then, the average length of an interim pastor, I asked Bishop Svenningsson and Craig Peterson, is 9 to 12 months. And we know from Dick Magnus, our last one, he was here almost 9 months to the day. So we'll get a new senior pastor here as soon as we can, but just to manage expectations, this could be that length of time. Then, once a new senior pastor is called here, then we go to a new beginning, and we recreate, we co-create, and we innovate into the future. So this model has helped me personally. And it's not just when pastors leave. It can be when there is a death, right? There is a very difficult grieving period and then leads to a new beginning after some time. Or you graduate from college, or your child goes off to college and there's an ending. So you can use this model in multiple ways.
Or you're in COVID-19 and the whole world has changed.
Right, right.
And so I think one thing that I've heard about this is change is inevitable. The success is in the transition. So part of that is for us to communicate more often and be explicit about what's happening. So this is what we're doing today. I also think that it's important to know that there is a plan and process. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that we are moving ahead. We've been moving ahead without Brian, which we, I think, didn't like at first and still don't really like. But we know that we need to do it because we are here for each other and for a greater purpose.
Right, yep. And leaders are here for a while, right? And then they're called to do something else. And so it is what's been happening behind the scenes is that Pastor Ann and the executive committee at Trinity have been pretty busy. The executive committee consists of John Sweeney as our treasurer, and Michelle Edwards as our vice president, and Carol Narum as our secretary. So we four and Ann worked with Craig Peterson at the synod, They sent us 2 strong rostered ministry profiles, 2 strong candidates. We gave Ann the opportunity to interview them first, each, then I interviewed them alone each first, and she and I decided both were worthy of the time of the executive committee. So we interviewed both those candidates back to back last Wednesday night. And afterwards, we had a very good discussion. We were not ready to make the decision that night because we wanted to follow up on their references and we wanted to watch their YouTube videos of them preaching. And so we have been very busy doing that, and there are ample opportunities for both of them. That is not public, their names are not public, but what we hope, Jeri, is that a decision will be made probably in the next week. A call will be extended to the top candidate, and we hope to be able to share with all of you probably in the next 2 weeks, which could be around September 13, 14, 15.
Kathi, why is there such a long period between the ending and the beginning?
Mm-hmm. So, you mean this neutral zone part, right?
I'm with that, and also with the sort of the process in the ELCA.
Got it, great. Well, what I've learned is that, you know, the objective of the process is to have the congregation step back, reflect, and really think about our identity, where we've been, and where we're going. We also need to forget about Brian, which is hard, because if you
forget about him, just kidding.
Which is hard, right? Because if we bring in somebody too fast, then we compare and contrast. So the ELCA wants to bring in a strong interim pastor who will do a lot of question asking, small groups. We can do that over Zoom. You know, we have a wonderful small group structure here. But this individual would go and really listen and ask questions and then help us frame what we're looking for a new lead pastor. So that takes a while, and that's what the research suggests. If you do it too quickly, it can backfire. And we really want this lead pastor to be here for 10 years minimally, right? 10 to 15 years for the future of Trinity.
Well, I have been impressed with the leadership from the council and the executive team and Pastor Ann. They have been communicating with us as staff, and I think that our staff is excited for the programming that we have this fall. Good. Some neat opportunities, and we will update you next week on the sort of how long will the outdoor worship continue. And I would urge you, if you haven't been to outdoor worship, it is safe and it is fun, and you get to at least see people. And that's really what Trinity is all about, is this great community.
Been delightful. Please say thank you to all the staff who've worked so hard, because when we drive in on Sunday morning, the radical hospitality has been just delightful, and really makes it worth coming and getting our souls filled up. So, so thank you to you and everybody else who's working here and helping.
All right. Thank you, and thank you for joining us for a little Trinity update.